think most people at home watching this probably have something going on in their mind right now or something going on in their lives that might break them.
Yeah.
To me, it would be nothing. To them, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So God's out here to break all of us, and I want to be the guy who breaks last.
Well, maybe he's trying to make us stronger, give us tests to help us evolve, to help us grow, to help us know him more.
Absolutely. So let's assume that's what God is doing. To a degree, he's trying to see where all of us would break. You have two responses to that. You can either be intimidated by the fact that God is out there trying to make your life difficult, or you can be excited by the idea of it and saying, this is my chance to prove myself to God.
Right.
Which is what I was saying earlier on at the very beginning of our podcast, why I've adopted the mindset where struggle is semi-exciting to me.
Yeah.
God is out here trying to ask me questions or put me through scenarios where I get to prove myself to him, and perhaps that's why all the bad things happen. Maybe that's why that girl left you. Maybe that's why he made you love her so much so that she could break your heart and fuck your best friend on purpose so that to see how close you could come to breaking. Maybe that's what it's all about. Well, maybe that's the fun of it.
The mantra that I use is, yes, thank you. Whatever comes, yes, thank you. And yes is an acceptance to God, and thank you is gratitude for what's happening. And that mindset is a kind of surrender to God's will.
Yeah.
Do you struggle between, your will is very strong.
Yeah.
And I can feel the place where you like to impose your will in the world.
Yeah.
So your will versus God's will.
Well, he'll win.
Are you in a fight with God on some level, like not literally, but unconsciously, between his will and your will?
No, I think I am doing his will. I think I am doing his will, which is what it takes to be truly successful in the world. I do believe that the moral arc of the universe does bend towards truth. And that's not my saying. I think that's Martin Luther King's. But I think that it bends towards truth and justice in the end. I think that the battles we are currently fighting in society, which look hopeless, in the end can be won. And I feel like I am doing his will by standing up and telling the truth. I think I'd have to be a complete coward of a man to end up having all of the masculine youth of a planet paying attention to every word I say, and then say, oh, but if I tell them good things, if I help them and help the world by extension, I might get in trouble. That'd make me a bitch, and that's not who I am. Yeah. So I think if you give any man worth his salt that degree of power and influence and responsibility, he's going to stand up and say, okay, this is how you should live as a man, and this is how you can make the world a better place, unless he's afraid of the repercussions by the evil people, by the people who are on the other side, who are genuinely evil and satanic, who are out to destroy good and truth. And I'm not a coward. I've never seen myself as a coward. And in fact, we don't talk about vulnerability. The number one thing I could never exist as is a coward. I think you want to talk about my biggest fear. It would be knowing I'm a coward, seeing myself as a coward, and being very realistic and knowing I was actually a coward. I couldn't accept that because I feel like I would be disappointing all of my ancestors and God, and I would have been full of shit all the time I was talking. Now I'm a fake. Now I'm a liar. And I'm none of those things.
Right.
When I say to the camera and I sit here and talk about depression not being real, I mean what I say because I've lived enough shit to tell you that if depression was real, I would have been depressed. And people know that, which is why they listen to me in the first place. I would hate to look in the mirror and know I acted like a coward on that scenario. I can't be that person. Right. So
courage is the highest virtue, I think.
You think so? Courage,
love.
Well, I like to think of myself as a man with plenty of love in his life and a very loving man. I also like to think of myself as an extremely brave person. I've never been a coward. And even just the idea of being a coward is enough to motivate me to do nearly anything. So if you were to try and, here we go, vulnerability. If you were to try and manipulate me, how could you manipulate Andrew Tate, one of the smartest people on the face of the planet? Well, you would have to try and convince him that it was the only brave act. That's how I could be manipulated.
Interesting.
Now, I allow manipulation to find out where my enemy wants me to go, use my mind to break the trap, punish the perpetrators. I will allow them to manipulate me, and at the end of their attempt, I will decide whether I agree with their attempt or I destroy their attempt.
Right.
But that would give you the best possible chance. And I give you a perfect example of it. COVID, when on day one, when everyone got locked in their houses and they were talking about Italian hospitals being full and people were dying on the street in China, when everyone believed because it was brand new, day one, me and Tristan decided to fly to Sweden and just run around in nightclubs because it's the only open country. Did we do that because we have medical expertise? Did we do that because we were guaranteed to not get sick? Did we do that because we knew something other people didn't know? It was the brave choice. The brave choice is to go do something reckless. We might all die. Let's die in a nightclub in Sweden instead of dying in our house. So we always have chosen and defaulted to the brave choice. And part of me, maybe when we talk about excitement, I love when God or life or the universe or whatever you want to call it gives me a chance to be brave. I love when he gives me an opportunity. Here's your chance to be brave, Andrew. Here is your chance to show you are that guy. Here's your chance to have another story where everyone else would have failed, you would have succeeded. Here is your chance to win. I love that because, you know, it's easy to fly around on private jets and stay in 5-star hotels with a bunch of beautiful women and drive Bugattis around. Cool. But where's the point where I get to actually prove I mean every word I say?
Right.
So God gave it to me. So yes, thank you. I agree. We agree. Thank you. And if God decides I have to go back, then the best mental model I can have is not the Romanian system of justice is unfair, it's corrupt, I got too big, the Matrix got me. No, the best mental model is God wants me to learn something here. And he's going to teach me that through suffering. He's going to make this difficult, and he's going to make me feel pain, and he's going to make this as hard as he decides it needs to be, so that I can sit here and learn things. So I'm going to go and sit with my cockroach friends, and I'm going to learn. I already learned things. I can tell you a bunch of things I learned. Even physical things. I would hunt cockroaches in the dark. At night. I would stand near, to kill them. I'd stand near the wall and I'd measure out a palm strike directly, exact measurement, so I didn't hurt my elbow or my hand, to the wall. And I'd just sit and just wait. And I'd hear them crawling. And in nearly pitch black, I could hear one in front of me. Bam! I got to the point where I could kill them. Ninja for real. I was like, I'm learning shit in here.
Right.
So that was fantastic. I learned.
Did you learn anything about yourself?
This is again
New information. That's all. I mean, you must have, right? I mean, you had a new experience, so there must be new information. I mean, you got tested, right? You're in jail, for fuck's sakes. Like, something must have popped into your mind. There must have been some revelation, some edge that you came to. It had to be, no?
I'm exactly who I thought I was. I am 0% full of shit. I'm exactly who I thought I was.
0% full of shit?
If you would have told me,
Zero?
if you would have told me before I
Not
went,
like 0.1,
before I went
0.5?
to, before I went to jail, before they put me in that dungeon, in the dark, with the cockroaches, if you would have told me how I would react to that scenario, I would have said to you, I would have suffered and it wouldn't have been nice, but I would have refused to break, and I would have been the kind of person who sat there and endured and emerged more powerful than ever before. That's what I would have said.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done.
Yes, yes.
That's exactly what I've done. So
But that's not the question.
no, it's not. There may be a side order of nightmares. I learned, I've never had nightmares before in my life. That surprised me. But they're here now. That's life. I learned that, I guess. I learned that when I got out of jail. I didn't have nightmares in jail, which is strange. I had nightmares when I got out. Maybe it's fear of going back. Don't know.
Yeah.
But what else did I learn about myself? I had already pre-decided and had already told the universe how I would act in said scenario. This scenario was not a scenario I hadn't discussed or didn't believe could happen to me. I had already analyzed, if this happens, what are you going to do? It was
I'm gonna be for real. I want to know what his I want to know what his nightmares is. I mean, not because I'm curious on I want to see what his weakness is, but I want to know what genuinely his nightmares would be about. Even sometimes even your nightmares, like if I have a nightmare, like I had nightmares that somebody shot me in my dream or something like that. But in real life, I don't have any fear of somebody. Hey, if you like this video right here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Also, follow me on Instagram at KM.Little with 2 E's. Also, I have a Patreon, and I also have a private community where I talk to y'all 2-3 hours every single day. It's in the link below. Also, with the Discord. So join the Discord.